Good morning, Grizzlies.
I'm Henry.
And I'm Karsten.
All right, zooming into the national level a little bit.
We're going to talk about some politics. On March 4th, President Donald Trump delivered his awaited State of the Union address, with people on both sides of the aisle watching with bated breath.
Trump himself was the same as always,
With his usual controversial tone laced with frequently misleading or false claims, such as the assertion that the government spent $8 million to make mice transgender. The vibe from the rest of the room was noticeably, well, a little bit different than previous addresses, as many legislators on the Democratic side took the opportunity to protest. Reactions ranged from certain politicians bringing protest signs, skipping the event altogether, like our senators Jeff Merkley and Ron Wyden did, or other more clear forms of protest. During the speech, when Trump claimed that his 2024 election win was a mandate, Representative Al Green from Texas stood up and shouted, "You have no mandate to cut Medicaid." Green was removed from the chamber and later censured the next day. The Medicaid cuts Green is speaking of are coming from a new line of massive government spending cuts coming out of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. So far, Musk has slashed funding for programs such as USAID, which helped control Ebola in Africa, or the Department of Education, which funds our school, to, yes, even Medicaid programs, which help the sick and needy receive life-saving health care. These cuts to essential services serve as a hard pill to swallow, as Musk himself has received almost $38 billion in government contracts which have not been touched at all by Elon's cuts. This dissonance is getting picked up on by the polls, where data is showing that Elon Musk's government action is proving majorly unpopular. While Trump and Musk show no signs of stopping, it seems as if the American people are starting to see Trump in a new light, one which might give the president pause on taking further action. All right, but that's just America, so let's zoom out, take a look at the world, sending it over to Karsten with World News.
Thank you, Henry. Germany's recent Bundestag elections have sparked widespread controversy and unrest. The Christian Democratic Union / Christian Socialist Union, CDU/CSU, led by Friedrich Merz, emerged victorious with 28% of the vote. However, the far-right Alternative for Germany, or AfD, made significant gains, securing over 20% and positioning itself as the main opposition. This shift has raised alarms about Germany's political future, especially amid concerns over foreign interference and rising nationalist sentiment. The Social Democratic Party, or SPD, faced a historic defeat, garnering only 16.4%, its lowest since 1949. Meanwhile, external influence loomed large with figures like Elon Musk publicly endorsing the AfD, sparking debates about the role of foreign actors in European elections. Furthermore, German security authorities have warned of disinformation campaigns, particularly from Russia, aimed at undermining the electoral process. Therefore, before and after the election, protests erupted across Germany from both ends of the political spectrum. Left-wing demonstrators took to the streets opposed to the AfD's rise and warning of growing authoritarianism, while right-wing supporters protested what they claimed were election irregularities and media bias. Cities like Berlin, Hamburg, and Munich saw large-scale demonstrations, some of which turned violent as police attempted to control clashes between opposing groups. In Africa, the Rwandan-backed M23 rebel group has intensified its military activities, capturing key cities such as Goma and Bukavu. These areas are rich in minerals like coltan, cobalt, and tantalum, essential for European global security chains in high-tech industries. Reports suggest that M23 facilitates smuggling minerals into Rwanda, where they are laundered and integrated into the global markets. Despite calls for accountability, European nations remain heavily dependent on these stolen resources. Rwanda has strategically positioned itself as a key supplier of these raw materials, despite not having domestic reserves of them. Instead, it acts as a middleman, exporting materials extracted from the DRC as if they were Rwandan. Western countries, particularly in Europe, have turned a blind eye to this practice due to the reliance on these materials for industries such as electric vehicles, battery production, aerospace engineering, and telecommunications. The European Parliament has urged the suspension of the EU-Rwanda deal on critical raw materials until Rwanda has ceased its involvement in the DRC. However, economic have hindered decisive action, effectively allowing Rwanda to continue exploiting the Congo's wealth while Europe benefits indirectly. And now on to Camden with sports.
Thanks, Karsten. What's up, Grizz? This is Camden, and you already know what time it is. It's Sports O'Clock. And we've got a couple high-octane reports for you today, starting with the NFL free agency. As word goes around the horn, some huge trades have come to fruition, and many fans far and wide are taken aback by such bold moves. Most notably, Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers on a $150 million contract. Buffalo Bills linebacker Von Miller was released from the organization. And Los Angeles Chargers defensive end Joey Bosa was traded to the Buffalo Bills on a one-year, $12.6 million contract. With more trades and player moves to come, We will keep you updated on all the biggest things in the NFL moving forward. In NBA news, LA Lakers superstar and all-time league scoring leader LeBron James will be out for 1 to 2 weeks for a reported groin injury. This injury comes after a sudden exit in the fourth quarter of a loss against the Celtics on March 8th. While his recovery should be swift, here's hoping the Kings' LeGroin can heal a little bit quicker. Lastly, iconic Golden State Warriors point guard and all-time league three-point leader Stephen Curry has accepted the role as an assistant general manager at his alma mater, Davidson College. While this move shows great commitment to his roots and support for collegiate basketball, many suspect his retirement may not be much further down the road, as Steph Curry will be the first ever active NBA player to accept such a role. Well, that's all for sports. Now over to Cody with entertainment.
Thank you, Cameron. Back on March 3rd, Dolly Parton's husband, Carrie Thomas Dawson, died at 82 years old. They were married for 60 years. Now, some news from Nintendo. The Switch 2 will be releasing on April 2nd, and that's no joke. It would cost around $400. That's all for entertainment.
Oh my, what a show that was. Thank you for joining us here on Bear Claw Broadcast. I'm Mr. Gray, and what a wild ride. See you next time.